Alright guys, so again in your Google Classroom you should see something that says week 5 writing our personal essay, and then there should be a step 1 personal essay outline, step 2 personal essay first draft. So after you have completed the outline, it is so important that you do the outline first. You can go on to your first draft, and I'm going to open this up. Okay, and the instructions say transfer the sentences below from your outline in order as they appear in the outline to begin building your essay. Think of your outline as an incomplete puzzle. You have to fill in any missing pieces with transition sentences, transition words and phrases, added details, indentions, and grammar and punctuation. All right, so this is actually fairly simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my essay outline. So you should have an outline completed, and it should look something like this. I didn't complete it because I'm just using stuff as an example. So it's not complete. My explanations aren't there, but I can add those really quickly. So I'm just going to put, I lost a lot of weight, felt sick all the time. My father thought it was because I was playing a lot of sports, but really it was because I was so sick. I lost so much weight, I looked like a skeleton with a big head. So I'm just adding my details that I didn't complete. That way we can demonstrate to you guys how you do this. So my explanation for my sister when she figured it out. I was saying, and then I was taken to the hospital. Arriving at the hospital, I didn't know what would happen. I just remember feeling like something was going to change. Like I'd walk out of the hospital feeling like a different person. Okay? Alright, so now that my outline is complete, and yours should look something like this, obviously with your own words and your own things, all I'm going to do at this point, and it might help if you split your screen. So I'm going to split my screen, and I'm just going to make this to where I've got half of my screen being my outline, and then my other half being my draft. And you kind of have to play around with the sizes of it so that way you can see both. So I have one here, and then I have my outline here. Boom. So now I can see my outline, and I can see my my first draft. So all I'm doing for this first part is I'm just going to copy and paste, literally. Copy, paste. Okay, copy, and whoop, and paste. That's all you're doing. Is at first you're just going to copy and paste your sentences as they appear in your outline, like in order, the order that they are. And as you're doing that, you know, just kind of trying to be mindful of making sure you're getting all of the sentence and making sure that you're plugging it in right after the last sentence. So, oops, not what I wanted to do. I wanted to copy this and paste this. It seems a little time consuming, but I promise you it's going to make this essay way easier. So you can already, tell, like, I'm plugging this in, and this already looks like a pretty hardy essay. What I mean by hardy is it looks like it's got a lot of stuff in it, and that's because you've already done the bulk of the work. You've already, I don't know why I did that. You've already written most of your essay. And that's what I love so much about doing an outline is, as you're writing the outline and you put it all together, your essay is basically done. The only thing, and I'll show you in just a little bit, is you've got some things that you have to add. You have some things that you might need to rephrase or structure. And that is a lot easier to do once your thoughts are already on paper. If your thoughts aren't on paper, it's a lot harder to do that stuff. So now I've finished copying and pasting all of my outline over here into this document. So if I blow up this document, you can see now, here's my whole essay. All right. First thing we have to do, though, is we have to divide our essay from the intro to the body and from the conclusion. So if you remember, this is my introduction. I've got my hook sentence. I've got my thesis sentence. Anytime you start a paragraph, you need to indent. I don't know why it's not letting me indent. Maybe if I just tab over a couple of times, that could work. For some reason, it's not letting me indent. Okay, this is the start of my body paragraph, so I'm going to make it a whole new line, and I'm also going to indent. Indent just signifies to the reader, like, this is a new paragraph, which means it might be a little bit new of a thought. And it's just the way that we format our essays. And then I'm going to travel, and I see right here, I think, is the start of my conclusion. So I'm going to tab over. Okay, and then something else, for some reason, I've got a bunch of different fonts going on and stuff. I don't know why that is. Just always make sure that you are 12-point font and just pick one font to work off of. I really like Poppins, and I really like Spectral, and I really like Times New Roman. Either one of those three works for me. They're a lot easier. If you use something like Caveat, it's hard for me to read. So try and stick within these three fonts. I'm going to use Times New Roman, and boom. And I'm also going to make sure all the italics are out. Okay, so now I see my essay. The first thing you should do is you should read your essay. So I'm going to read my essay. It says, Moliere once said, "The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. A time I overcame a challenge in my life is when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 15. Now, okay, I'm reading this, and I feel like this is kind of choppy. So that's the whole point. When you're reading, you're looking for stuff that's choppy, and you want to add what we call transition sentences or transition words and phrases. Okay, and I'm going to add in Google Classroom a list of transition sentences or transition words and phrases that you can use to help make your essay flow. So to break up, I'm saying Moliere once said, "The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it." I'm going to add, this quote reminds me of a time I overcame a challenge in my life, period. And I'm just going to play around with my sentences. I'm going to play around with my paragraph, and I'm going to try and make it to where it makes sense. So I said, Moliere once said, "The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it." This quote reminds me of a time I overcame a challenge in my life. And I'm just going to reword it. At the age of 15, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and continued I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and to this day face many challenges with this disease. But these challenges have helped me to grow. Okay? So before, I had about 2 sentences in my intro. But in order to make this intro make sense, I had to add some sentences. I had to rearrange my sentences. I had to add transition phrases and words. And I had to play around to where this paragraph now is one paragraph that makes sense. So the outline, again, it just gives us piece by piece our essay. But we have to go in and we have to fill in the pieces that are missing because it's just an outline. It's not the essay. So now it reads, Molière once said, "The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it." This quote reminds me of a time I overcame a challenge in my life. At the age of 15, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and to this day face many challenges with this disease. But these challenges have helped me to grow. So again, all I did was just take what I had from my outline and made it make sense. And the more I read it out loud, the more I could hear the parts that sounded choppy or didn't sound like it made sense. So when you do this, you're going to go through your whole essay. You'll find it'll make it a little bit longer. And then by the end, you will have your first draft of your essay complete. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see your outline just copy and pasted and nothing be changed, because that's not your essay. That is just an outline. You have to go in and you have to then write the pieces that'll make your essay make sense. The last thing I'm going to show you is this rubric that I have posted. Not there. There is a rubric. Now all a rubric is a rubric is just a way that a sheet of criteria or things I'm looking for that I use to grade mainly like essays and projects. So when I'm looking at your essay, I'm looking for 3 different things. I'm looking for organization, I'm looking for development of ideas, and I'm looking for the use of language and your grammar and the way that you are writing and structuring your sentences. So if you're curious, like how can I get a 100? Well, you have to score a 4 in all 3 of these categories. So you're going to be looking at this part of this chart. And if you're reading your essay and you're realizing, oh, my essay isn't organized very well, it's probably more of like a 2 or a 1, then you have to go in and read what it says and tweak your essay to start covering things that make it a 3 or a 4. Right? If you're following that outline, you should easily be at a 3 or a 4, because the 3 or the 4 is making your essay organized. That outline is making it organized. Okay, so this rubric, it's for you and it's for me. It's for me, so it's a little easier for me to grade the essays that I'm getting, but it's also for you, so you know what you need to accomplish in your essay in order to get a sufficient grade. So know that this is here for you to look at. Other than that, you are on your own. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will be available to you.